Hey guys, I thought I'd do, with the big day coming up, a little history lesson on Christmas. I'm going to start with the basic stuff. I wrote it all down, so I'm not trying to not look at you. It's just, I'm reading it. Mistletoe was used in Norse mythology. It killed their god Baldur's son. The Druids used it in their winter solstice ceremonies, believed the berries contained the sperm of the gods. The Greeks believed it was lucky to be kissed because it once offended the old gods, who condemned it to look on while pretty girls were kissed. Holly, aka Christthorn, used during the Roman ritual of Saturnalia, which began on December 17th, but first they had a sacrifice, during which boughs of holly were given to friends along with gifts, and societal norms of Rome were overturned, like debauchery was encouraged. The Advent wreath, was Celtic. It meant the circle of life, unending seasons. Lighted candles brought light to the darkness and would adorn their table or altar, which was eventually absorbed by Christianity. So was everything else. Christmas trees go as far back as ancient Egypt, who would decorate palm trees. Romans would decorate evergreen shrubs with bits of metal and replicas of their god, Bacchus, who I have to assume is a demon, or fallen something. Now we decorate it with Santa Claus and figurines from TV, little Snoopies, Mickey Mouse. Now this is what the Bible says. This is from Jeremiah 10, verses 2 through 4. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathens are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth the tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workman with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not. There's really nothing else to even say about that. The real Saint Nick, it's Saint Nick because that's what the Catholic Church deemed him as. He was a devout Christian who obeyed Jesus. He sold everything he owned and gave all the money to the poor. He was persecuted and eventually jailed. Eventually sainted by the Catholic Church, and his day became a day of celebration. December 6th, December 19th on the Julian calendar. Excuse me, too much coffee. Large celebrations in old Europe eventually came to America. In the early 19th century America, Calvinists, Baptists, Quakers, and others attached no holy meaning to Christmas. But because of the St. Nick celebrations, which were known as drunken mob-filled parties with people roaming the streets causing problems, which scared the upper class of New York City. Now, the upper class at that time were the Rothschilds and people like that. The writers and others, the upper class, wanted to domesticate Christmas. So in 1810, the New York Historical Society commissioned the first New World images of St. Nick, which was the first depiction of him having a gift-giving role. Then, 11 years later, the first lithographed book in the United States of America, Children's Friend, came out. This Santa Claus arrived from the North Pole with his sleigh and flying reindeer. It also marked the first appearance of Christmas Eve on December 24th instead of December 6th. Both the drawings and the poem are still anonymous. No one knows where they came from, and it just happened to be the first book. Soon after that, The Night Before Christmas came out, and the New York elitists had succeeded in domesticating Christmas. Now, I try not to, I read about it and all that, but I don't really dig into it, the Illuminati and all that stuff. If you really look at this, like if you can't see the hand of Satan guiding these people, it's just not a coincidence. There's no way. And Santa Claus, of course, you move one letter, you got Saint Claus. everybody says, I screwed up too. I'm just as guilty. I'm not doing Christmas. There's no tree, there's no decorations, nothing, no gifts, nothing. I took my kid to a Christmas party to appease my grandmother and tried to sit him on Santa's lap. Wasn't having it. He's 2.5 years old. I sat on Santa's lap. With him on my lap, still screamed bloody murder. Wanted nothing to do with it. And anybody that has a kid knows, at the age of 1, you might get away with putting him on Santa's lap. From 2 on up, don't want nothing to do with it. Until they realize, if I'm nice to this guy, I get gifts. Which, you get any kid enough gifts, they'll be nice to anybody. Kids, children, are like animals almost. Almost like a dog. Like a dog can sense good and evil. Everybody says, oh, it's just because they're not used to it. They're not used to what? A guy with a beard or a guy in a red suit? Is that the real reason why 90% of children fear Santa Claus the way they do? Or is it because they could sense how wrong the whole charade is? I'm going to go with the second one because that's just what I think. Then, on to December 25th, which we know now why it was chosen. Luke chapter 1, verse 26. And in the 6th month, the angel Gabriel was sent from God into a city of Galilee named Nazareth, to a virgin espoused to a man whose name was Joseph, of the house of David. The virgin's name was Mary. Alright? In the 6th month, Mary found out from an angel she was going to bear the Son of God. 9 months later, would take it to March. Which, when you think about it, makes sense that Jesus would be born in March, because spring, rebirth, regeneration, new life. I've come to make all things new. Now, people could argue that it's wrong, but it's not. I mean, unless they misinterpreted manger for incubator and Jesus was born a preemie, which the most perfect man to ever walk on this planet was not born on December 25th. Now, I know there are true Christians out there who still hold in their heart the real meaning of this day. The celebration of our Father's birth. But when you surround yourself with pagan idolatry, and it kind of negates, plus the whole idea of it. Jesus wouldn't want us the stress of Christmas. I got to get the perfect gift. Traffic's insane. I got to get the perfect tree. The house, the lights got to be perfect. I got to outdo my neighbor. And then the day comes, everybody revels in their, what's the word?